In a Barron's article that reported that Pierre Farragut, Dan Ives, and Tom Naraya, all Tesla bull analysts, were kind of meh about the Cybertruck. Well, that's their take at least. The market actually hasn't reacted one way or the other, save for that run up last Tuesday. So co-host of Good News Monday, Larry Goldberg, is here to help me figure out what's going on. Larry, you had time to fully think through your experience in Austin, watch subsequent videos and commentaries, and I know you've even opined at length about 48-volt systems. Where are you right now? What's top of your mind right now in thinking about the Cybertruck?
I think the Cybertruck is a dynamite product. It is going to contribute about $1 billion of earnings next year, which is
2024. Okay.
2025, 2024, sorry, 2024. And maybe as much as $3 billion in 2025.
Okay. That's significant.
Yep. I do think that the pricing is about as perfect as it could be. I disagree very strongly with those who say it's too high. I think it's perfect. In fact, I've gone on record to say I think the prices are going to go up from here, not down.
Wow.
I think they're going to sell as many as they can make, and they are going to make as many as they can sell. Meaning that I think that the 250,000 target is going to be way behind them in the rearview mirror within a year or two. I think they're going to have double the production line. My reading of the production line is that production, once they ace it, once they figure it out, and I think they're very close to figuring it out from all that I've been told and heard. I don't know, close, but they are really feeling very confident about getting there. I think it's going to ramp up faster than we've given it credit for. I think the only bottleneck left now, there's some equipment they're still waiting for, just finishing equipment. I don't think it'll be a big issue. So some of that's literally being done by hand, but the 4680 batteries and spinning and getting that production ramping fast enough. We didn't speak, nobody spoke to them about it, nobody asked about it, so I don't know what the update on that is. But having said all that, I was blown away with the product. I was blown away with the business model, the business opportunity, and I'm blown away by the pricing. And I think this is going to be a stellar launch. And I don't think it's priced in, and I don't think the critics are, the analysts, I shouldn't call them critics. I don't think analysts have figured it out yet. I will say that Dan Ives did not sound mad to me. He sounded pretty damn positive.
Yeah, well, I mentioned that I was giving them credit. That's their opinion of what Dan Ives said. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's my summary. I mean, I am as bullish as one can get at this point.
So I had mentioned, I'd suggested over the weekend that I thought it would take a few days for the analysts to see these videos, to hear from their friends who have seen the videos. Because to me, the 3 videos that have been published so far by third parties are better than anything that I think Tesla could have done, because they're coming from third parties, and they're just absolutely fantastic.
I didn't hear one piece of criticism, not even, a little niggle here or a niggle there, nothing. These guys were all blown away. And by the way, they're not all Tesla bulls.
No, not even close. and
who's one of Tesla's biggest critics in terms of reviewers?
I'm sorry.
What magazine are we always on about that's really down on Tesla all the time?
Typically Insider
No, not financial.
Oh.
I mean, consumer reports,
Consumer reports. Yeah.
always negative,
Yes.
always negative. They had a write-up today. They haven't tested it yet, but it was pretty positive.
Really?
I was shocked. Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yep.
Okay. I need
Yep.
to look that one up.
I mean, they didn't test the car or anything, but all the positive sounds. Look, the pricing, I've tested the pricing very carefully. The pricing of the mid-range, of the middle of the range truck is right in the current sweet spot of pricing for trucks today. I looked at pricing. Their pricing is dead on. I've said that I think pricing is going to have to go up from here, not to make more profit. I think they're going to be very profitable at this level, but because demand is going to be so high.
So and we know that Elon hates the idea of a middleman making something that Tesla should have made by flipping the cars. So what about Larry? Are you ready to give a brief, just a 2-minute thing on the 48 volt? What you have a very
2 minutes, huh? 2 minutes.
Well, we can have you back to do an entire program about the 48
and
volt.
we will. I'd be very happy to do it, but I will say this about it in as brief a time as I can. It is a quantum change in technology. And there have been baby steps made in the S, from the beginning of the S all the way through the X, a pretty big step forward in the 3, a major step forward in the Y, which is now being re-engineered back into the Highland. But from where they are to where they were in the Y to where they are now in the the Cybertruck is, it's the next generation. It is going to change everything in the auto world. And here's the amazing thing. The auto world has been speaking for 20 years about having to go to 48 volt.
Right.
I think I've done on this program a whole review of the very inoperable process of multi-tiered vendor systems, the tier 1 vendor. All of that is baked into the fact that it's almost impossible for them to make a move from the 12 volt system to the 48 volt system. The move is dramatic improvement in performance of the whole system in terms of being able to test, manage, dramatic drop in the weight and complexity of the wiring, which is a very big contributor to cost. Dramatic improvement in the architecture, because instead of having wires crossing and connecting all across the vehicle, there is really only one continuous connection all the way to multiple different processes, each process controlling a region and then managing those processes. And all of this programmed by Tesla and controlled by a central controller of Tesla, and all of it with getting rid of fuses, getting rid of all the old control systems, and all of it programmed by Tesla, so none of it dependent upon Tesla. Now, taken in the whole, it is a dramatic reduction in cost. It is a dramatic reduction in weight. It is a dramatic reduction in complexity, and it's a dramatic improvement in performance.
Other than that, what do you think?
Other than that,
well, so
and
sorry.
Here's the thing. All of this can be re-engineered back into the existing models.
Okay.
Certainly the 3 and the Y. The S and the X may be a little bit more complex, and who knows what's going to happen to that, to those cars. But the opportunity for improving the cars by software really is doubled.
Wow.
By the control that Tesla now has of every single component, every electronic component in the car. So they've developed an entire electrical to, electronic to electromechanical architecture. And that architecture and all of that they've developed around it, I believe, is a whole new business for them. And I think they're going to do a deal with an OEM within the year. That's my judgment. And I think this is a whole new business, dollars, a whole stream of money for them, a whole stream of business, a whole new business. Exactly as I talked about in the charging business, I think this business exists there as well. And I went back and replayed the presentation from Investor Day 4 times.
4 times, okay.
4 times, and it's a long thing. I think it's 3 hours. I've discovered so many, amazing, Easter eggs in that presentation, and I'll talk about them in future programs. But anyway, that's the story on the 48-volt system. I am so excited about it. I wrote a whole big blog about it, and we're happy to do a program on it.
We definitely need to do that. So there was also a major new update spotted by Not a Tesla app in the code for the upcoming FSD update. And he says he found in there Waze-like routing options and warnings for speed traps. Also, driver liveliness from the cabin camera.
You can't put a pair of eyes in, a photograph of a pair of eyes in the car now.
Yeah, in fact, I reported earlier this last week that they have a new patent that interior camera focused on the driver will be able to do all kinds of things, like even if the driver is unconscious, take the car to emergency.
One of my best friends and colleague from work was driving home from a meeting. I was at that meeting with him in I don't remember what town, some city in America we had flown in, and he was driving on his way back to the airport, and he had a brain hemorrhage.
Huh.
And he was only lucky that he could actually pull the car to the road. Fortunately, a patrol car spotted him and pulled up, but absent that, it would have been tickets for him. But a system like this would have saved that life.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's quite obviously I like Waze, but I find Waze to be it's only an app, and so it's not easy to incorporate.
It's not integrated to the car. But this is very important. This is far more important than it sounds, because this is the beginning of using the fleet to update FSD with problems in the road, and with understanding, not having to have feedback from the driver by these notes that we give, but automatically understanding a change that has to be made in the map for FSD in a particular difficult spot.
You could even have one of these massive fog or snow-based collisions taking place, where some Tesla car up ahead would be able to notify you way before it's ever going to take place and automatically slow the car.
Yeah, that is a very important component, but the idea of using this facility to augment FSD with local knowledge is very powerful. I've spoken about it before, but it definitely is going to improve FSD significantly. And it's also going to, given the new architecture of FSD, it's also going to give FSD knowledge of where they need to get better training. So they're going to see, an incidence of problems in a particular area. They're going to be able to then go to the fleet and isolate better drivers' experience of that problem and feed that into the training. So this is an important evolution in terms of the intelligence of the feedback network. yes, it's very helpful for traffic. Yes, it's very helpful for incidents like this, but it's also an aid to the training mechanisms, the training methods.
Well, turning to the financial situation today on Mornings with Maria, today, Trend Macro CIO Donald Luskin explained his frustration with the Fed's rate hike campaign and his economic outlook.
Hello.
Yeah, hello is right. He says, please, 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 can we all stop listening to Jay Powell? Please, Mr. Inflation is transitory. He is still so embarrassed about that one. He's now insisting that inflation is dangerously high and that interest rates are not transitory. Oh, they will be, Luskin said. Inflation is collapsing, and he knows it. It's turning into deflation, like I warned last time we talked, he says, and there will be rate cuts in Q1. Larry, the bond market is being extremely kind to my predictions recently.
Yes.
And seems to be moving right in that 4.25 range. That's right in the middle of where we've been for days now. I'm thinking it's going to stay here for a while unless there's a significant change in inflation numbers or some new dovishness from the Fed. And now about over 50% of the economists polled now think the first cut is coming in March, and a significant number of economists think it's going to come before March. Thoughts?
This bloody, calm down. Jay Powell has to be ranked as one of the worst Federal Reserve governors we've ever had. And we've had some bad ones. We know. This whole scare that he must have had some sort of life change over the transitory inflation that he suddenly, spooked himself that, oh, it's never going to go away. Oh, we have to come back. And now, we have seen, Nick Cole has pointed this out the other day, and I don't know if I've mentioned it to you. We have seen three states in recession expand to 16 states in recession.
Oh, yeah.
Over the last month or two. Now, how much more damage has to happen? He's talking about March. This should be happening already. We shouldn't be waiting for, the meeting, the this, the that, and scheduling it out. And we should be doing it now.
Yeah. Well, we can agree.
We shouldn't have had the last increase. I spoke about that. But anyway, I'd get off my angry horse now.
Well, at least the market is in the right place. So the market is now down to 4.25 on the 10-year, although the inversion on the 2-month is crazy, Larry. Even my demographic analysis, we've never been in a situation like this before ever in history. All of that, I can't fathom why people are still not buying that 2-month when the rate is at 5.5 or something.
Well, I think because they're expecting a drop in the interest rates, they want to lock in the 4.5, right? So
no, for the long term.
Yeah, so that's generally the play. Corporate bonds must be a big steal at the moment. Come on, the play is the bonds. There's no doubt about it. The play is the bonds. I don't know why people are buying stocks at this point. The play is in the bonds. So.
Well, so that's the other side, Larry. So I've also started about 2 months ago, I started talking about a rotation. I think we've talked about it earlier on this show. And then about 2 weeks ago, oh, here come the headlines. Maybe we're going to start a rotation, like 2 headlines.
Yeah.
Then a week later, we're seeing rotation almost every day. Over the last week, the NASDAQ has been underperforming the S&P, the Russell, and the Dow, sometimes even being negative while they're up. Yes. So that looks like rotation to me, Larry. And the Magnificent Seven, actually kind of with the exception of Tesla, the Magnificent Seven have been way underperforming the NASDAQ. So do you think this continues as people maybe try to get some of that dividend business, just like they're trying to get this bond business kind of locked in?
Yeah, I think so. I think, we're seeing this sort of this moment. But, I looked at a study the other day, and I'm gonna opine about it on X. I looked at a study the other day of the Magnificent Seven or tech stocks, actually,
Right, the tech
versus NASDAQ over the last 20 years.
Right.
And, I guess because of this very low interest rate, so it's just outperformed just consistently over the years. So, I mean, it just seems to be that this is a moment. There is a, move to the bonds, move to the, the Dow. But, if we see a change in the interest rates, we see a change in the Fed's attitude, the Magnificent Seven, or if you like, the QQQ is going to come blasting back.
Yeah, this was what you said a couple of weeks ago, Larry, and I've kind of adopted a little bit of what you said there. I do learn from you, you are my elder after all.
Yes, I am at least a year older than you.
But what I think is right about what you said is that the Magnificent Seven are just printing money. And it's not like it's going to slow down. I mean, there's no evidence that any of them are really going to stop printing money and printing more money. So therefore, they will go up in value also. I think a big part of this rotation is actually rotation out of cash, out of money market funds, and into something that is that has a underlying value, has a something that where the actual asset is going to go up in value, not just an interest rate coming in.
Yeah. I've always been very negative about Berkshire Hathaway investing in Tesla.
Yes.
You've heard me complain in this program about those people who constantly say, "Oh, when's he going to invest in?" I'll tell you, did I share with you earlier about the comparison of Berkshire to the QQQ?
No.
So somebody did a comparison. I'm going to actually blog on it. Looked at Berkshire Hathaway versus the QQQ for the last decade, actually 2 decades. That in that 20-year period, there was only 2 or 3 years in which Berkshire outperformed the QQQ.
Interesting.
And the QQQ didn't outperform Berkshire by a little bit. It was by a lot. And so I took Tesla.
Yeah.
From the date of the IPO, every year since, and compared it to Berkshire, NVIDIA, Apple, and one other, BYD. It was no contest.
Yeah.
Tesla and NVIDIA, well, NVIDIA slightly more, Tesla and NVIDIA completely outperformed.
And will continue to. I don't know about NVIDIA for sure, but for Tesla, we haven't even got the bots yet.
Yeah, but I mean, NVIDIA too. I mean, the point is that companies that pay back their shareholders their capital are not going to perform as well as companies that invest their capital into growing businesses.
Especially if their return on invested capital is the best in the world at the same time.
And then there was one other company I compared them to.
Oh, okay.
Apple. They were, Apple this, Apple that, Apple this, Apple that.
And Apple does have a higher ROIC than Tesla. They're like the only company that does.
Yeah, but I compared Apple's stock performance against Tesla stock performance over the same period of time. Apple outperformed Berkshire, yes, but it underperformed both NVIDIA and Tesla.
Yes. Well, once again, though, here we're looking at the other side of the Tesla story compared to Apple. They're not only the highest on ROIC. I mean, Tesla is second, but I mean, they're high on ROIC, but they're also high on innovation. And this is where Apple has fallen back, I think, is on innovation.
But they're also not paying out their own capital.
Yes, yes, that's true. Tesla is not.
Yeah.
So anyway, this was not an apples to Tesla comparison. Yes, it was an apples to Tesla comparison. It's supposed to be a half a joke. There's a joke.
Yeah. There were 1 or 2 years where Apple did outperform Tesla. You know, we know that Tesla has these ups and downs and so on, but on balance, the difference is so dramatic. I mean, now what I haven't done is played in back the dividends that these companies do to see, but they're actually minimal in terms of dollars, really quite minimal. Anyway, I mean, I hope to finish the study when I do that other stuff as well. But the QQQ versus Berkshire is no contest, not even close. In the 20 years studied, maybe there were 2 or 3 periods where Berkshire outperformed, but it was not even close.
Well, Larry, this is one where I'm going to sit back and you're going to school me, because I've said repeatedly on this channel that I know nothing about Bitcoin. Every time I've tried to dig into it, I respect the fact that Elon Musk and Cathie Wood both think it's a wonderful thing. I respect both of them and their opinion, but I can't get to the value. I can't find it. And I find a lot of other smart people that can't find any value, any underlying value in Bitcoin other than the what do you call it? The fact that they have a limited amount that they can produce, therefore it will always be, I get all that. But right now, I think it's important for our channel to at least mention Bitcoin has gone nuts. I mean, it's just going like this. It seems to be related to the ETF, but is it going to continue to go to 100,000, Larry? Are we going to see a big drop off when people decide to take profits? What in the world's going on, Larry?
Bitcoin is really the new gold. People decry that, people denigrate that viewpoint, and probably with some logic to it. But it is considered, I mean, it has weathered the storm. It's been a hell of a storm around crypto. I always regarded it as the true crypto. I just can't get my head around even Ethereum, but Ethereum is like a cut above. But all of these so-called S coins, I can't get my head around this idea that suddenly you got money. You just have a new coin issue and suddenly there's no value to it in my view. Now, Bitcoin has definitely weathered the storm. I actually met somebody in Austin who claimed that the NSA and CIA have cracked the algorithm and can decode the Bitcoin IDs. I don't see it myself. I think Bitcoin would be at zero or close to zero if that were true.
That's right.
So I have a fairly high confidence in Bitcoin. I seriously looked at buying it at the 36,000 mark when Cathie, came out with such conviction quite recently on Bitcoin for various reasons, and I won't go into all the ins and outs of it. But yeah, I think that it's going up, and I think it's going up in direct ratio, in a direct ratio to its to the limits of its generation. And I think, like gold, I think it is the new gold, but I think the old gold is doing bloody well right now. I mean, we talked about this a week or two ago, and I said, that I thought that it was going to go up, or at least Nick did. Nicholas did. And so he's been proved absolutely right. But gold is just as ephemeral a commodity as a Bitcoin, digital asset is ephemeral, but it's proven resilient over the centuries, and Bitcoin has now proven resilient over the decades.
Yeah.
The big problem with Bitcoin, the huge problem with Bitcoin is security, not the security of the network. There, I believe that they are secure, but security for the individual holding that Bitcoin. There are so many incidents of people losing their Bitcoin through their own negligence, but also through the untrustworthiness of individuals who provide a service of holding that Bitcoin.
Right.
So that's a huge problem, and I think some of those problems have seeped into what happened to the value of Bitcoin. But I think people are developing the skills necessary to hold a wallet and to manage a wallet. There will still be problems with it, but there's problems with gold. I mean, gold is it's untraceable, although I believe that today there are some methods, some means of, to a degree, of tracing it. And bottom line is, I think Bitcoin has resilience. I think it is a flight to safety asset. I think it is replacing gold or supplanting gold. And so I think, a good portfolio should contain a quantum of it. Not a big percentage, but a percentage of it.
Got it. And in the meantime, Tesla has made something like 130 million just in the month of November on their Bitcoin.
Yeah, if they'd kept that Bitcoin, they would have done pretty darn good.
Well, they still have some, and that's what I'm saying. They made 130 on what they still have. Yeah, that's not too bad. Larry,
they no longer have a master of coin. Maybe they don't even know how to sell it, or maybe they've lost it. Who knows?
So, Larry, thank you as always for co-hosting with me on Good News Monday. I'm going to let you off the program right now because you've got a dinner date to get to, but I am going to continue in a minute with the bringing people up to date on the pre-market. So thanks so much again, Larry, as always, for joining us.
What's the news? Is it good or bad?
I don't know. The pre-market
is
kidding. Yeah, okay.
All right. Thanks, Randy. I'll say goodbye.
All right. So sometimes all of your hopes and dreams, your Christmas presents, everything that you ask for is coming true. And so I keep unwrapping the gifts and they keep on coming just in the time that since I said goodbye to Larry and put it on pause for a few minutes here, we have Sawyer Merritt reporting. And let me just go through all of this. It's like what I asked for, like, come on, after the announcement, after the handover of the truck, let's have lots and lots of third-party videos, and let's have a lot of effort by Tesla to keep the product in the headspace of the community. And here it comes. So let's see if I can find it here. Oh, things just went wrong. Tesla has released a Get to Know Your Cybertruck page, and there's all kinds of videos showing how the front camera works and the quality, what you get to see from the front cameras. A Cybertruck rear screen video showing you how it works and all the benefits of the rear screen. They released a video on how to operate your Cybertruck's tonneau cover. So, and then another one on how to use the bed outlets. You've got they shows how the 6-foot bed in the Cybertruck has 2 integrated L-track rails, 4 tie-down anchors, and the ability to add D-ring anchors at multiple locations in order to secure cargo. And then it also allows you to enable the LED light bars from the touchscreen of the Tesla app. It has another video. Cybertruck comes with 4 interior USB ports and 2 interior 120 power outlets. 120-volt power outlets. Tesla has released a video about the Cybertruck steering yoke and how it works, and another video about the Cybertruck's charge ports, and then another video explaining their air suspension system. I haven't seen all these videos yet, but anyway, it just goes on and on and on. And then he also reports that the United States has announced that BEVs, total EV sales in the US, just surpassed 1 million for the first time ever. And the Biden administration has finally released their long-awaited rules designed to block EV manufacturers from sourcing battery materials from China and other foreign adversaries. I'll check more into that by tomorrow morning and let you know what is going on with that. So is that enough news for the last 20 minutes? Anyway, okay, let's go ahead and take a look at where the markets are, because that's why we did the pause. Larry wasn't able to stay until the markets were fully out there. So here we go. We have got the 10-year down 2.7 basis points in the after hours, sitting at 4.259, still in my range. 4.25 being kind of the center point of the range. I would say, 4.2 is going to be the bottom of the range, maybe a little less than that, and then it'll go up to 4.6, 4.7. That's going to be the range for a while. I think that'll be for a few weeks, maybe even, unless, of course, there's some major news coming. We've got the next week. This coming week. This week we've got the employment numbers coming at ADP, and then the government employment numbers at the end of the week. That could have an effect. Then we got the Fed with their meeting next week and their announcements. So there's a lot of things that could change this number and cause it to go down substantially further. I will say that I'm continuing to believe that the first cut will come in March, but I doubt whether the Fed's going to say anything next week, not this week, but next week. I know the Fed is going to say anything that dovish, even though multiple people are calling for a Fed cut, and over 50% of the people that they are, the economists that they poll are now saying that Fed cut is going to come in March. And some are saying even earlier. So we've got we just reported the 10-year, we've got the 2-year is sitting at 4.637. So it is still greatly inverted. We've got the 2-month has actually gone up while everything else is going down. The short-term ones are all going up, inverting even further, and that's been true for a few days. I didn't take a look at Tesla's after hours. It was down 1.36 for the day. It's down 0.14 in the after hours. I don't know exactly how this is going to play out. There's going to be a day. I don't know which day it's going to be. Could happen tomorrow, could happen the next day. All the good news about the Cybertruck is going to start to impact people's thinking about the stock. I think it's really going to take seeing some of them being produced and out in the yard, getting delivered, when we start to see kind of some evidence of how that ramp is taking place. And so far, we don't have that. So I think that's going to be an important thing that we need to look for. Okay, let's also go look at what's happened in the after hours in terms of the pre-market. So the pre-market, the Dow is down 0.12%. That's $43. The S&P is down 0.13%. That's $6 down. And the NASDAQ is down 0.08%. That is down $13.25. So the NASDAQ is actually doing a little better in the after hours than the other two, but it was significantly underperforming earlier today. We have the crypto. They just lost it here. We have the Bitcoin at 41.9. So I'm sure lots of folks happy about that. We have the dollar rising today. We have gold now at 2,048. So that's down from its high, but looking like it's heading back toward the green. Copper continuing down. And then oil up 25 cents in the pre-market. It's still sitting at 73 and some change, 73.29. Again, I wouldn't be shocked to see it go into the 60s, but we may be trading in a range again. That old range was like 67 to 73, something like that, 74 in that area. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that we get into that range again. Okay, going back just for fun to Tesla real quick, it's looking about the same. If you've stuck around this long, I do have a camo again, because why? Because my order came in today. So everybody that hasn't been shipped yet, I don't care, regular camo, all of them will start shipping tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get everybody's out on USPS tomorrow. And so if you're ready to order now is the time when I'm loaded up. This is the moment. This is the moment you've been waiting for. You know it's going to go out ASAP because I got a bunch of them in. All right. So but you don't want to wait till like next week or whatever. Do it now. 1 is $25, 2 is $45, 3 is $65, 10 is $21 a piece, $210, and 20 is $20 a piece, $400. Please send that to paypal.me/Randy Kirk, all in lowercase letters, and $20 if you're out of the country, out of the US. And then make sure you mention whether it's camo or stainless steel or regular, however you want to say it. And then, yeah. And then there was one more thing I want to say about all that. I forgot. Anyway, yeah. Oh, yes. And you get free one, of course, if you join Patreon at the $10 level. That must have been the very thing I was forgetting. All right, listen, I've talked a lot today. I am done. I hope you've had time to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notify button. We've got more Larry tomorrow. We had Larry earlier today. I'm not sorry, Larry. Sorry, we had Brian. More Brian tomorrow. We had Brian earlier today. I will put a card up for that. It was a fantastic, fantastic time with Brian. So you want to check out the card above. All right, that's it. I'm out of here. Been great talking to you.